What is going on, everyone, and welcome in to another episode of Expected Bets for your go-to podcast for all things hockey betting. I am Gator Betting, joined by my two co-hosts today. We got Franco and Betsky here to break down the conference finals. We're here, and boy, we should start with this. Before we get into the teams and the winners, we need to talk about the losers here. The Leafs did it again, and it's a damn shame. I want to be the first one on record to extend my deepest condolences to all the Leafs fans out there. Next year, though. Next year is your year. Yeah. Run it back again. I think that's their only option at this point. They just need to keep running it back because they're so close.
Yeah, let's make some minor tweaks by completely overhauling the blue line again. Minor tweaks. Let's get rid of the coaching staff. Maybe minor
goaltending room. Change it out.
More, I think they went too much grit. So maybe more skill in the bottom nine this time around. Get some high skilled kind of dipsy doodle wingers for that depth scoring because
not enough defensive scoring. Like didn't work there.
Maybe more offensive defensemen. They may win a little
more offensive defensemen.
Yeah, let's try it that way now.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Roll out Solars. Those were the two issues they had.
Yeah.
Yeah. New goaltending.
The priority's got to be to re-sign Marner at this point, right?
Oh yeah.
No, it's Tavares.
Well,
no. The priority is Tavares.
Oh man, I just it's.
Break out my tiniest
violin. I don't know
why
I would have expected that Game 7 to not have been a blowout. They fooled me in Game 6 a bit.
Yeah, that
we can even talk about
was pretty good in Game 6.
Game 6, but even Game 7, like first period, first 10 minutes, Florida dominated. Shots were 7-0, and they hung in there. They kind of withstood that first push by Florida. Second 10 minutes of that first period, you're like, okay, here comes Toronto.
Yeah, they drew even. I think it was 7-7 for shots.
Yeah. And you're like, all right, maybe this is the Leafs year.
What do you think happened if Nylander got that goal early in
6-2?
Kind of. If Leafs went up 1-0 in the first, how do you think that momentum swing factors in for the rest of the game? Do you think they could have still held strong, or do you think it still would have been a disaster?
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. You know, I feel like the Jones goal was like kind of like back breaking. So
I do too.
It was weakish. I know we talked about it before the show, but once that happens, I feel like you're just thinking as a player, like, oh no, not again. that's all it takes, right? And then obviously everything just went to hell. It wasn't even. I honestly thought that game was going to be closer than that.
Me too.
Just going into, I thought it'd be like a 3-1 maybe, but rough.
I mean, at the end of the first, I was like, oh, this is going to overtime.
Yeah, I could see that, but they somehow did it again. Their worst home loss in Game 7, 6-1. And then you just look through the stats of like the Sabres have more series wins from 2005 than the Leafs do. You're like, that's not good. We haven't made the playoffs in 14 years. Like
9 straight years in the playoffs, and they've only made the second round twice or 3 times.
Twice.
No, the COVID one.
But they only have 2 series wins.
It's only 2? I thought it
was only 2. Sabres had 4.
Weird year.
Leafs had 2. Because they lost to Montreal in a Game 7 in the bubble.
In the first round?
Mm-hmm. Pretty sure.
That's right. Right. Wow.
Mm-hmm. That was the beginning of the Habs miracle run to the Stanley Cup.
Unbelievable.
I proposed this question to like my family. Yeah. I proposed this. I think it's less torturous of being a Sabres fan for the past 14 years than a Leafs fan. And I mean that wholeheartedly, just because hope is never factored into the equation. We don't even get a glimpse of hope.
this is that argument, right? Like, is it better to make the playoffs every year and just not do anything, or is it like what's better? You know, like
That's what I'm
obviously
saying.
at this point,
It's
you guys have
it's
been
hope.
in that more like the Flyers at least have been competent, like not that long ago.
Yeah.
I feel like, but it felt like they were in that same situation where like for years where the Flyers would make the playoffs every year, and it's just like I had no confidence in them ever winning. Like there was one or two runs in there where there was a chance, it felt like, but overall it was like a lot of nah. So is that better than being mediocre and just not making the playoffs? I don't know.
I wouldn't even say they're mediocre though. I mean,
not mediocre.
Yeah, I mean they're exciting during the playoffs.
We're talking about the Leafs. We're talking about the Leafs. Relax. Relax.
I'm sorry.
I mean mediocre results. Let's put it that way. Like, yeah, the season's great and all, but like in reality, a team like that, like the season doesn't matter, right? Like you know they're going to make the playoffs with the talent they have on the roster. So like the only thing that matters is playoffs at that point. Man, you know, who cares about anything that happens?
I don't know, because it stinks that it kind of stinks to see this core not be able to do it too, because it should have been fun, and it should. I mean, well, if it was a different franchise, would you be a little bummed? Like if it was like if this was Minnesota with Matthews, Marner, and Nylander, and I don't know.
If it was another team that hasn't won a Stanley Cup, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Yes, I would.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Like if it was an easier team to root for, like an underdog team that managed to have these three superstars, and
yeah, no, for sure.
I mean,
this is just
Leafs making the final is better than our disaster scenario we're talking about yesterday of a Winnipeg Carolina final for hockey.
You know, yes, that is true. The Leafs, at least, it's a product you want to watch, right? Like exciting team.
Yeah.
If it was
like hilarious to just see it again,
it is so good. It is so good. But I mean,
I do feel for the fans.
The Bruins and the Leafs the past few years. I've had no sort of my own excitement. I've just been projecting on everyone else, but the Leafs and the Bruins. That's my only source of joy.
Mm-hmm.
It has truly been hate watching.
I don't know. I feel for their fans. I do. Like,
I do too.
And the people like saying, "Oh, like Leafs fans are terrible. They're leaving the game early." The game is 6-1, dude. Like,
yeah,
the game's over. Yeah,
you know,
it's
the game's
not like
over.
It was their first time in the second round, and you should go applaud your team too, or like the third year making the playoffs.
People are like, "Oh, Ottawa fans were there till the final whistle and they stayed," and like, no, dude. Like, this is disappointment beyond anything you could possibly imagine as a Senators fan. Like, no, they deserve every boo that they got last night. That was a horrible performance from that second period on. Like, come on. No.
You're losing a 100-point winger for free because you waited too long.
Mm-hmm.
Waited too long to move one of the guys that you're thinking is a problem. I don't know which one is, if it's just too many egos in one room or what, but and the thing is, you just gave all your assets. So the only way on paper you can improve this team from the way this team looked like on paper starting last season is through free agency. And there's nobody who you can add to this team that is going to make them look better. Unless, you know what? They should take Stamkos.
Ooh.
Kid. The problem is if you're a player, like if you're a free agent going into the season, like why would you want to go to Toronto with all the negativity and all the media and everything? Like, what, you're going to go there and try to like save? It's like the former girlfriend that like you keep trying to get back with to fix her, you know? Like, you're going to go there and you're going to go fix the Leafs. All right, good luck, buddy. That's what it is, you know? Like, that's what you're going to be if you're going to be that person that's going to go there. So good luck. But
I mean, even Kachuk too the other day was saying that the stuff that Toronto has to deal with is just a whole different world than the expectations that they have to play with, because they're not constantly scrutinized every single game. And I get it. It's got to wear on you at a certain point.
They did everything right for this type of run too. I was one of the guys pounding the table that I was like, I don't know, man. In the back of my head, it would not surprise me if Toronto got to the finals. Like with that blue line and everything.
Right. This is the best team they've put forward. You've heard it. Even Florida players were saying it too. Yes, for sure. This is their most complete playoff team.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do
you go from here?
Yeah.
You know,
you get Stamkos. You gotta let Marner walk. You have to, unless you trade Nylander and re-sign Marner.
I saw
trade Matthews.
I saw
right?
somebody say to trade Matthews today. I thought.
The issue was like we're talking about them getting to the point where Marner's a UFA. Matthews got to the point where he was a UFA too. Like that could have been worst case scenario too a few years ago. Like it's not. It's a whole system of like errors that they think they have 2 prospects now, like no picks.
Yeah, they traded first.
Is it
for
like
Carlo,
what?
right?
Like is it now just a prayer that Marner resigns, and you're just like these are the guys we have?
I don't think
again?
they want to resign Marner though, right?
No,
I think they went into the season saying,
go.
Yeah.
You either re-sign Marner or you trade Matthews or Nylander, and I don't think you can. I don't think there's any way you can move a guy who has 69 goals.
Nice. But no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, realistically, like if Matthews goes and just wins a cup because they moved him to Minnesota or something, like you can never get past that.
The thing is, every team would be
Nylander
interested
goes to a team and
to
wins
bring
a cup,
in
it's
Matthews.
Like
if you said today Matthews is available, make us an offer to every single team in the league. Like they would, you know, what I mean,
there's offer sheets.
Offers.
Yeah, not even offer sheets, but yeah, there's offers, crazy offers being tossed around there.
I mean, obviously he has no movement clause.
Trades Byfield and like 3 firsts or something to Toronto for Matthews, or Byfield and Fiala or something, like something like that, right? Let's just pretend.
Tage, Darlene, a percentage of the Bills.
And then LA just immediately wins.
Oh,
you can't overcome that.
They finally beat Edmonton in the first round.
Yeah, because Matthews puts up a hat trick every single game. You can't recover from that. Now, if Nylander gets traded to same scenario, right? And he helps them get past Edmonton, and let's just make believe they win a cup with Nylander. You get over that, right? Down the road, as a fan base, people are going to say it was a bad trade and whatnot, but others may say it had to be done. If you move Matthews and something like that happens, you can never live that down, and it will go down as probably the worst trade of all time, right?
Yeah.
So you're stuck. You either trade Nylander and re-sign Marner, or you let Marner walk, who is 100-point forward, for nothing.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough.
Shitty.
You don't just replace a 100-point player. I'm sorry. No. Like I get all the hate on Marner, like all the stuff, but that's not something you just like. Oh, we'll just throw somebody else in there. They'll be able to pick up 100 points. He's not that good. So
no,
yeah.
I mean,
it's good. This offseason is going to be nuts.
Nuts.
Colorado's going to want to do stuff.
There's
so many teams that are ready to start getting better that have cap.
A lot of cap.
Well, and then there's the whole offer sheet thing that, like, if teams decide to start doing that, like if they're like,
but without Marner, they have cap space.
I know, but still,
I know
if some team offers like the max offer sheet or one of the higher offer sheets for Nyes, for example, like, is Toronto really going to sign Nyes to a $12 million deal or whatever that like those top tiers are? If some team is crazy enough to do it, you know what I mean?
Good luck to that team, though, too.
I know. It's not necessarily like a smart business move, but
I know. It sucks.
Craziness. All right, so I want your takes on this one. So let's start with this. This is an easy one. Can't throw your jersey on the ice. That's just craziness, especially when the play is going on. Huge no-no. Like,
I don't understand why you do that anyway. I mean,
no.
jerseys are $300, dude. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's craziness.
And you're going to be rooting for the team next year. Like, don't act like you're
Exactly.
not going to be. Like,
Let's say worst case scenario too. You throw it on the ice during the play, and it's one of your players that gets hurt. Like,
yeah,
you just got to feel like the biggest idiot in the fucking world at that point. Banned from Scotiabank, kick him out. Like, yeah.
Yep.
The booing. This is interesting because as a Sabres fan, I think they play half their home games with booze. I'm not against like booing a team. I don't know, like I get you're frustrated, but I don't know if that was like fully boo worthy because like, yeah, they didn't look great in the second and third, but like the Panthers just dominated them so badly. And the Leafs were just outclassed in those last two periods. So pro booze, anti booze.
I'm a Flyers fan. I've been told since a very young age that you boo when the team sucks and you cheer when they're good. It's very straightforward. Like this city will love you and treat you like a king if you perform. Mm-hmm. And any player that has like stayed in Philly, like agrees with that 1,000%. Like Bryce Harper loves playing in Philadelphia because of that, right? Like, and it's just part of the nature of it. And I think the same would go for Toronto. Like if Toronto gets over the hump at some point in the next couple of years, and Matthews is at the forefront of it, or whoever it is, it could be somebody different at that point. Who knows? But like that player will be treated like a king. Those players will be treated like kings going forward if they do finally get over that hump. It's such a mental thing at this point, the blockage of what is preventing them from getting there, I feel like. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just how I've viewed this. Like, I get it. Like, it's, you can say it's disrespectful, but like, that's the only way as a person spending money on tickets that are like $1,000 or more, I'm sure, for a Leafs game. Plus, like, concessions are ridiculous at this point at games.
Yep.
I think you have every right as somebody that's there to be able to voice your displeasure at a team losing 6-1 at home in a game 7.
Yeah.
It's one thing if it's 2-1, like you shouldn't be booing at that, but like you got whooped.
Yeah. I mean, it like reaches a point. It reaches a point in your fandom. I agree to it too. Like, especially like just with the Sabres of like the owner, no sort of initiative to like make changes or spend money on the team. Concession prices go up, ticket prices go up. Like they're not putting money. They're not trying to, like, the GM's not doing anything. Like that's your only source of feedback that you can eventually give, not only directed at the players, but directed at the organization in general. Yep. It feels like that is the one public forum that you have that they're watching. Everyone, a part of the team is watching. That is your one source of feedback that you can give. Yep. All right. That was a good 20 minutes just on the state of the Leafs right there. I mean, listen, we might become a Leafs podcast at this point, but
I know, right?
We do have some storylines heading into the conference finals. We got Florida, Carolina, Dallas, Edmonton. Great finals on both sides. Let's start with the Panthers here. Looking to return to the Cup for the third consecutive year. Their state mate, I don't know if that's what you call the team. Their state mate, maybe? Their rival for Tampa Bay. Would you call Tampa Bay, Florida state mate, maybe?
Interstate rivals.
Interstate rival, yeah. That probably works better. But the Bolts went to the Cup 2020 through 2022. Florida looking to kind of repeat that here.
Wow. Crazy to think that Florida may have a team in the Stanley Cup Finals for 6 seasons in a row.
Well, then you wanted to talk about the taxes?
Yep. Yep.
Dallas, no taxes. Florida, no taxes. They said, I saw a tweet today that said Marner makes $3 million a year more than Reinhart does, but Reinhart takes home more. That's tough to kind of compete against, if we're being honest here, just kind of objectively. But Seth Jones obviously played fantastic in Game 7 last night. He's been a perfect kind of fit for this team. I know they lost Montour, but boy, has Seth Jones fit perfectly. Yep. And another guy, just a perfect fit, Brad Marchand. Brad Marchand was unbelievable in Game 7. Those two additions stepped up when they needed them, provided a spark for this team. It's hard. It's going to be really, really hard to beat this team. They look phenomenal.
Yep. All right. Well, I will try my best to defend Carolina here then.
Well, we can get to Carolina too. I mean, can Brendan Moore get them over the hump?
Okay.
That's their issue. Like, they made it to the conference finals, swept by Boston in 2019, swept by the Panthers in 2023.
Yeah.
Were also swept in the time before that in 2009. Like, they have not won a game beyond the second round of the playoffs. It's winning the cup in 2006 with Brendan Moore as their captain. Insane.
Yeah, like when do the questions start getting asked there? You know, obviously, like this team has fallen short a ton. You know, they don't get nearly as much hate as Toronto does, I guess, because they've gotten closer. But
and there's no Toronto Sun, and press isn't necessarily in Raleigh as aggressive as Toronto. But yeah, this team, it was almost like the Rangers for a while too, right? The Rangers were kind of in that same boat of they'd maybe make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, kind of fail to get over that hump, but they move on from Rantanen, get a pretty good haul for him in return. Now somehow Dallas is in the Western Conference Finals, Carolina's the Eastern Conference Finals. It's insane. But I guess we'll just start with storylines. Do you believe in Carolina here?
Probably not, no, but I will say they feel like this is the best team they've had in the playoffs, even though there's the least amount of hype about them in the playoffs. So I don't know. I felt like 2 seasons ago when they did get swept by Florida, and what they had to go through Islanders, Jersey, or New York to get there. That was right. Like one of those Carolina teams at the beginning of the season. It's like, oh, they're going to be like one of the contenders and whatnot, and they fell a little flat. I feel like Brendan Moore's got them really rolling on all cylinders, and on paper, I feel like this is the worst team they've had in the past 3 postseasons. But something is working, and I will say Shevnikov has a killer instinct now that I have not seen before. And he is finishing games, and he is winning games in a Rantanen sort of way single-handedly when he wants to, or when it all kind of unfolds that way. The second line and the third line depth is huge for them. Having Stinkoven playing on that third line with like a Martinook and stuff has been huge. And this was another issue they had with before. It felt like the only people going were Aho and maybe Jarvis, and Shevnikov was kind of in and out. The Kotkaniemi line never really clicked with him. Natchez, I don't feel like, I may need to look back, but never felt like Natchez was a big difference maker in the playoffs. So this year, to me, feels like they are the scariest they've been. Yeah, man, 8 goals in 10 postseason games this season. I don't know if they have the snarl to fend off the Panthers and what the Panthers can do to you, though.
That's the thing. And I agree to your point here. Svechnikov has turned into a dog. Jarvis has kind of always been a dog for this team, too. But his points have been unbelievable. He's got 10 with Aho to tie the team lead. Gostisbehere is providing points on the back end for them as well. I mean, Burns normally kind of, when he just got to Carolina, was that guy, kind of that offensive prowess. Hasn't been so this postseason, but you go down the line, Martin Hook's been good. Stankoven, Blake, like they are getting depth scoring here.
Yeah.
Which has been huge. And Anderson has been phenomenal.
Yes, but against lower competition.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, they've looked downright dominant for large stretches of the playoffs, I would say. And it's like, how much do you buy it, considering, how banged up Jersey was?
Yep.
Washington just kind of, I feel like Washington's depth did not help them at all. Like, PLD turned back into PLD, which we knew was going to happen eventually, right?
Yep, always has been.
So it's like, they had one line. What lines did you trust? If a line's taken away from Washington, who do you trust to get it done? They didn't really have that. They didn't get the scoring from the other lines. Whereas, like, you look at Florida, and it's like Toronto took away the Barkov line from large chunks of that series, and then that's why we saw Marchand, Lundell, and Lucian just do what they did in those games. I mean, that was the difference. That was really the difference in that series when it came down to it. Like, that they got the depth scoring when Toronto really didn't. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to judge it based on what we've seen so far from Carolina because they've looked so good.
First round matchup against the Devils. None of us really gave the Devils a chance in that one. Second round, Washington. Washington beat Montreal, who shouldn't have even been in the playoffs. No one really thought Washington was a team that was going to make it deep. Carolina kind of takes care of business there. Now you go against the defending Stanley Cup champions in a completely different team, a completely different step up in class, a team that really has no holes to their game at all. Is this just too much of a step up in class for Carolina, or do they just rely defensively and just try to make every single one of these games a 2-1, 3-1 game? Like, I don't think they're not gonna outscore Florida.
No, I mean, I think that's their biggest weakness overall, is just like, you don't have that. If you're down 2-1 going in the third period, who's stepping up for Carolina? In those series against Washington and New Jersey, they had the lead, so they can just play defensive. It's when they have to open up and stop playing a defensive game and actually get the offense going forward, that's where they struggle, and that's always been their problem. They don't have that prime finisher. They don't have the Mikko Rantanen, that Dallas kind of that's been the difference for Dallas.
They could have used him, couldn't they? Yeah, I mean, they could have used him.
I get it though. Like they acquired
he wasn't going to sign. Yeah, he wasn't going to sign.
They acquired him for that reason. That's why they got him. Yep. That's why they got Gensel the year prior. But like, these guys don't want to stay there because of the system, and I get it. They want to be on a high flying offensive team, and that's not what Carolina is going to be. So I understand as a player, you're making a business decision to move on to a team that's going to put more points on my stat sheet. So I get it, and that makes it unfortunate for Carolina because they're just never going to be able to draw that offensive juggernaut type of player that they need to get over that hump. And it's funny because I've felt like I feel like I've backed Carolina a lot in the past to like get over that hump, and they just never do. And
yeah,
that's been the biggest takeaway for me is like, they can win those games where they have the lead because they're able to just suffocate you. But it's when the other team gets that first goal, or gets that, when it's 1-1, they get that goal and make it 2-1. They don't have that ability to fight back typically because that's just not their game.
Yeah, I mean, Florida tied for the lead, or is in the lead in the postseason with 45 goals for. Carolina tied for the least amount of goals against with 18. That's the storyline right there. That is the entire matchup that is going to happen in the East. If Florida scores more than 4 in a game, I don't think Carolina wins at all.
Okay. I think I like the over 5.5 in this series.
All right, we'll get into some betting angles then here. Let's start with the series best bets. Okay. Florida -125, Carolina plus 105 for the series price.
Don't give me the Florida series price right now. Jeez.
Exactly. It's
yeah.
I know you wanted to play devil's advocate there. I could feel it coming.
Well, that's why I was saying over 5.5.
Yeah, but that's probably what, -178 or -180 on FanDuel.
I don't know. I need to look. That's a good point. Sorry, and I was reading Adam's comment.
It's -210.
Man, if
-210, yeah.
he was gelling. Okay, so yeah, not that. I mean, just do the 5.5 for both of these series.
Or just take the 6 and the 7 on DK.
Yeah.
My only worry is that, I mean,
wow, wait. Oh, that's for the game.
it seems highly unlikely to me that either of these series are 4-1 wins. Let's put it that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like especially if we're thinking Florida wins, 4-1 series win would require them to win 2 games in Carolina. That just because they're starting on the road, that just seems too difficult.
And they're starting
to
tomorrow.
Yeah,
they're getting 1 day off.
Although I tend to think that might be a little bit of an advantage for Florida, just because they're coming in like
then later
ready.
In the series, though. Yeah,
no,
I get it, but yeah,
it's like you wonder, is it rest versus rust, that whole thing? But the other thing too, my other big question mark with Carolina is like, is Anderson going to stay healthy for the whole series? Like, I feel like he always, especially with the way Florida plays, obviously, the Bennett thing with Stolars, and there was all the speculation, whatever you want to say, right? But I don't think that was necessarily intentional. I think it was just, getting in the crease. But like, that's the way Florida plays. Like, they're going to be in Anderson's grill all game, every game.
Yep.
And Anderson, all we know of Anderson is he always gets injured, like at some point. So like, even if he is stealing games or just playing out of his mind like he's been so far this playoffs, that's another like area of concern if you're back in Carolina.
Yeah. I mean, Florida for minus 125 for a series price seems like if Carolina somehow pulls up the upset, tip my cap to them. But at that price, Florida's bettable. In my mind, they're the much better team, more complete team here. I'm happy to take Florida at minus 125. Is that kind of the general premise, or are you guys even considering putting money on Carolina at plus 105?
My only thing is, so I have Panthers to win the Eastern Conference at plus 320 from earlier in the year.
Yeah, I'm just saying, no future bets not considered.
Yeah,
future bets not considered.
That makes
you had to pick a winner in the series.
That makes it difficult for me. But yes, if I had no bets existing, I would probably be leaning Florida here.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a good price. Now, the other thing too to kind of take into account, depending on how you feel about the rest versus rust argument, like Carolina is going to win one of these home games, I would think. If you do believe they can come out fine in game 1 here, and maybe Florida's a little tired after going 7 games against Toronto, and Toronto's a tough matchup. I don't care what anybody says about how that game went, and that was a tough series for Florida. So let's not act like they're going to come in and be like high flying maybe in the first minute of this game. So I don't mind doing like that. Carolina win game 1, Florida win the series type of bet if you're feeling that could be a scenario. I don't know how I feel versus the rest versus rust, but I'm just saying if that's not throwing you off, if you're like, this is an even game 1 right here, Carolina should have home ice advantage in game 1. They've been dominant on home ice all season, right? They've just been great. So I think there's a chance they could take game 1 here. So that's not a bad way to kind of get a little bit of value. That's plus 330 on FanDuel. So
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked with the Canes winning game 1. And at that price, and at that point too, if you think the Canes are going to win game 1, do you almost wait?
Or you could wait. Yeah.
Wait till after game 1 and then take their series price. But honestly, I mean, Florida could easily win game 1 too as well. Like it could go either way. And at minus 125, I'm fine laying that number on the Ice Cats in this,
for sure.
in this game.
I'm saying like if you want to split a unit maybe up, you do like 0.75 on the minus 125 and then throw like a quarter on that plus. Actually, it's plus 350 on DraftKings. There you go.
Yeah, to say how I would do it is I would take that minus 1.5 series price too on Florida. Florida winning in 6 too here. I could easily see that happening.
I mean, that's the thing in general. I feel like you should be looking at. I don't see it going to 7 and Florida winning in Carolina. That makes it a lot more difficult. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, let's get into some props for this series. Most points, Reinhardt's at the top. Aho, Kachuk, Barkov, Jarvis, Svechnikov, Verhaeghe, Bennett, Marchand, Ekblad. This is a market I don't love to target. There's a few other ones that we can get to later that I kind of feel more confident on. But for most points, personally, you have to lean a Florida player, I think.
Why?
You would take a Carolina player
I'm not joking necessarily because
for most points in the series. You trust Carolina's offense?
I trust Shevnikov to be or Jarvis to put up the most points. I don't.
The problem with Svech is he only scores. I feel like he doesn't get like too many assists.
I think Jarvis would actually be my vote here for the value.
Oh,
I mean, the guy's been on everything. Yeah. It's so weird when you see him get a point because it'll be with fucking Brett Burns and Taylor Hall, and you're like, how was he on the ice with those guys? Like,
that's fair.
It just doesn't make sense. I mean, I didn't think I had him in a parlay on that last Washington game, and before he got the empty net, I saw who got the second goal. Somebody completely random. No. In the last game of the Washington series, it was somebody completely random who got the second goal, and I was like, "Oh shoot!" Like Jarvis isn't going to get a point, and this play is dead. And it turned out he had the secondary assist on it, and I didn't even know he was on the ice for it.
That's fair. Would you consider?
And again, the Florida, the scoring can go up and down. I mean, who had it in the Toronto series?
It probably was Marchand.
Probably Marchand.
That's how I feel. Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's where I would say the value is, and Adam says it in the comments too. Like at plus 3,500, like we know what's going to happen here. I mean, the Stahl line is going to get the Barkov line, at least in the Carolina games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, depending on how many games you think the series goes, that's at least 3 games.
List me the top 5 scorers for the Panthers in order.
I have it open.
In that series.
Yeah. No, in the
postseason.
In the postseason so far.
Yeah.
Probably Bennett is up there. I don't know what the order is. I mean,
just shoot from your hip. I mean,
yeah,
Bennett's
I would say it's like Bennett, Marchand, Lundell. It's not. I know it's not Verhaeghe. I know. I don't even know if Reinhardt's there. I know Kachuk's not in there. Like, is Luosterainen in there too? And Ekblad? Ekblad's got to be in there. Am I even
Marchand's
close?
number 1. Luosterainen's number 2. They are tied for number 1. Reinhardt is 3. Lundell is 4, and Barkov is 5.
Okay.
Lundell and Barkov are tied at 10.
Bennett and Tkachuk are tied at 9 technically spot 5.
I was surprised Ekblad's not higher. I guess he missed a few games, so
Jones and Ekblad are tied.
I mean, the point is you could get Marchand and like you could take that whole line. Marchand, Lundell, and they don't even give you a Luosterainen, but
yeah.
I mean, just spring. Why the hell not?
Yeah, Barkov. I mean, Kachuk's still kind of hurt. Bennett, Marchand, both look good options at 22 and 35 to 1.
Does the Tkachuk line come to life this series? You know, I feel like series is
last time.
I did too.
Last time Florida and Carolina played in 2023, that was Kachuk's big series. He was unbelievable. Yeah. I think he had 2-3 game-winning goals in that. So Marchand's just the Maple Leaf killer. Kachuk's maybe just the Carolina, just a guy that could be.
I give me Tkachuk and Seth Jones, Seth Jarvis.
I like that. All right, I would go with Bennett. I don't mind Bennett. Sure. I like that 22 to 1.
Yeah,
I mean, I think this is the problem with Florida in general. Is like you could really make arguments for a ton of players. This could be the Barkov series. For all we know.
Yeah.
This is another interesting market here too. So their series total points. Barkov 5.5, Svechnikov 4.5, Marchand 3.5, Verhaeghe 4.5, Stank, Ovin 2.5, Kachuk 5.5, Bennett 4.5, Reinhardt 5.5. You also have Aho and Jarvis at 5.5 as well. If you were leaning any sort of series total points, where would you guys go to? Adam saying Marchand over 3.5 is a hammer.
Marchand 3.5 looks great, I think.
Yeah.
Given what we've seen this playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
He's just gonna have so many advantageous matchups with that third line.
Yeah, I'd probably take that Jarvis one too.
Yeah.
You gotta hope that this isn't a fucking sweep again, though.
Yeah. Or just an extremely low-scoring series where both home games or Carolina has last change and they just shut it down completely.
So game 1's at 5.5. I was shocked to see that game at 5 last night. I understand like the implications of it, but when I saw it at 5, I was like, there's no way I'm taking the under on this.
Yeah. Yeah. Bennett would be a look for me and Marchand at 3.5. And then on the opposite side of things, I think I like that Jarvis 5.5 if I had to pick a Carolina player.
The only question with Jarvis is like, where is he going to be? They moved. He was on the
matter.
4th line in one game.
It doesn't
It's just-
matter.
Yeah, I guess he plays a ton of minutes regardless. It's just annoying that they move.
He's
him up
always
and
going to be on the top power play, and he produces on every single line he plays on.
Yeah.
The Stanko 3 is interesting too.
down. Yeah,
I think he's got 5 this postseason, though. That's about it.
Yeah, and like 3 of those came from the first Jersey game.
Yeah. Aho at 5.5 again is interesting. I mean, he just continues to score. The issue we brought up before was his assists, or excuse me, no, 7 assists, 3 goals. I was thinking of Svechnikov. Aho at 10 points too. Yeah,
Man.
it's a tough one. There's a few other interesting markets. So I'm not big on these series shots on goal market. Svechnikov leads it at 17. Yeah. These two I did want to bring up, though, because they do offer some intriguing value. Series head-to-head points. Kachuk minus 15, Barkov minus 115. Probably stay away from that one. Svechnikov for Higgy is interesting.
Yeah, I'll take that.
yeah. I don't mind
Six
Svech
Chev.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, I would take the Goss to spare one if I knew Jackson Blake was going to stay on the 4th line. But again, he's shifted all over the place too. So, and there's no value.
I'd maybe take the Aho one at plus 100 too, but I'm not going to take any of these, to be honest.
Head-to-head goals. Svechnikov over Verhaeghe.
That actually, I might like Svech over Verhaeghe better on that goals as opposed to points, to be honest.
Yeah.
These are
Right.
tough. I mean, it's just so.
Let's talk about the good
Funky.
series
Yeah.
now.
Well, before we get into that, let's give out our best bet of the series. Florida series
money
price minus
line.
1.
Yeah.
Florida series price minus
Yeah.
125.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing the 6 and 7 game thing, but I kind of wonder though, like,
I
could
know.
this be?
I would much rather take the over 5.5 on this and the Edmonton series. I just did it. It's like plus 115-ish.
But I could
I'd much
see a
rather do
situation
that
where
than-
Florida wins 4-1 in the series.
I know, but then at least I'm getting I'm doing.
You're not losing
the other one.
2.1
The other one
units.
feels so guaranteed to go 5.5 that
Yeah.
I'd rather get plus money to hope that Carolina can
get there. Yeah.
Can hold on for 2 games.
2 games, which they need
Yeah.
to do, or it becomes a Leaf scenario for them.
Yeah, the media is just not as bad, so they're able to survive
I
it
know,
no matter what.
I know, but you get swept twice from the Panthers, and how many times do you get to the conference final and can't get out of it with this core?
Oh, we got some Canes love.
Yeah, there's a little devil on my shoulder saying that they're getting out of it, but
It's
man,
like it's the thought of like, now that I'm finally just completely off of them, that now they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
exactly.
That's the
Mhm.
feeling I have. But no, nothing else is
Yeah.
telling me otherwise.
Well, and they look great in those two series, the first two series, but they played arguably
They played
the worst
plumbers.
they played
They
two of the
played
worst
plumbers.
4 teams that made the playoffs for playoff purposes.
Yeah. I mean, I get Washington had a great season, but Thompson never looked good. I think that injury, I don't think he was ever right.
No. I was trying to think of like a horse racing analogy, but I know you guys aren't big, but it's basically like Carolina going up his first 2 starts, he wins at like Ellis Park and like a 4.5 furlong sprint and like a $25,000 claimer. And then his third race is against a horse going for the Triple Crown in the Belmont. You're like, but he raced well the first 2 series. Like he looked really good. You're like, yeah, but now he's got to deal with 20 other horses and a huge step up in class. Maybe the long shot wins here, but I just don't see it. I just don't see Carolina winning this series. I think they make it competitive, but
if Bob hadn't had like 3 incredible games so far, I'd feel a little bit more confident in Carolina.
Well, that's the other thing is like Bob looked terrible the first 2 games. The overall Florida looked like kind of slow, like not, they weren't really maintaining play in those first few games. And there were stretches, like Dave said, where their legs looked heavy, but like I really think they like 3, obviously game 6 wasn't great, but I don't know, that game felt weird to me, like they almost threw it away, which doesn't make any sense. Like I don't know why you would throw a game away and when the series was like that, but game 5 and game 7 were just outright domination from them. Bob looked fantastic. The scoring was just the shots and the scoring were flowing. And that, like a team like that can do that without Kachuk really performing well, like to what we know he can be. It's scary. It's scary how good this team can be if everything is firing on all cylinders.
It is. All right, let's get to the Western Conference here. Edmonton at Dallas. Edmonton looking to return to the Stanley Cup here after kind of making a 3-0 comeback, falling short in Game 7. Big storyline for Edmonton, I think, is 2 things. Depth scoring. They've gotten more depth scoring than I think they have in years past, too. Stuart Skinner looked awful in the first round, second round, and now he's posted, back-to-back shutouts?
Because, of course.
Makes logical sense. Your mustache. Yep. Credit to you.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure we got that.
I'm gonna have to cut the mustache off.
Let them make it to the Stanley Cup, and then you could even give them 2 games. Give them 2 games, and then and then take it away. But yeah, I mean, Rantanen's been an absolute force for them this postseason. What does he have? 19 points, leads the postseason. DeBoer trying to get back to the Cup final since losing with the Devils in 2012 and the Sharks in 2016. This will be his 6th appearance in the conference.
I thought he would have done more in Vegas, no?
No. DeBoer is tied with Mike Keenan for 5th in NHL history with 96 playoff wins, but is still looking for his first Stanley Cup.
Interesting. Crazy.
It's been this will be his 6th appearance in the conference finals.
Can he get over the hump?
Same thing with Brendamore on the other end.
Yeah.
All right, series prices here. -110 both ways.
That's where it should be. That's where it should be.
Mm-hmm. Any thoughts?
I have no idea. I mean, all I know is it's going over 5.5, so just staple that to whichever other thing you want to.
Edmonton is such an enigma at this point. They don't make any sense. Like you said, Skinner 2 straight shutouts. Doesn't make any sense at all. No Ekholm all playoffs. And all of a sudden their defense is unstoppable. It doesn't make any sense. And they're going to get Ekholm back now. Like I saw he skated fully today.
Mm-hmm.
So originally I read he was not going to play till game 3. Like, is he coming back in game 1 now?
Don't mess with the chemistry yet.
I know. It almost like ruins it. But still, come on, man.
Dallas, I don't care. You can't mess with it. That's bad coaching. If Dallas puts up 8 goals in the first game, okay, or 6 goals or something, but you can't do it game 1 in Dallas, right?
Yes.
Well, that's almost the game you afford to lose. You know what I mean? Like,
no, none of them. It's the finals.
I know.
They're none of. You can't afford to lose any of these.
I know. I'm
just
saying.
If you get
what was
smoked,
that?
Yes.
What was that parlay you put for both series going over 5.5 plus 105 on FanDuel?
I think plus 115 or something. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Not bad.
No. Yeah, this is a tough one because you can make arguments for either side here. Like, what happens if Stuart Skinner just falls apart again, which could totally feasible.
Is Pickard's ready to go back in, right?
Yeah, I think he should be good now, right?
Goalies are voodoo, so it's fine. Throw in the other guy.
Yeah, but do you really want to be like, oh, okay, like Skinner had a bad game 1, we'll throw Pickard in game 2, and then there's that whole, you never know who the hell's going to be the goalie game in and game out.
Boston scenario.
It's like the nightmare scenario as a fan.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're getting.
No, you give Skinner 2 games, but if he loses both.
I mean, I think
I want Pickard at home. If Skinner loses both games on the road, I want Pickard at home, right?
That's fair. Yeah.
Fair.
Also, what happens if Edmonton's power play just turns around? They went, 1 for 11 in the second round? If that gets going,
I mean, I feel like McDavid and Draisaitl haven't even gotten started yet. I know they're up there as far as point totals go in the playoffs, but like not to the extent that we know they can.
Yep.
It's really scary. Like,
yep.
At any point, it could be like, bam.
I would rather take Edmonton to win the cup than the minus 110 because it's what Dave's just said.
Or
you're the best player in the world. You have to win it at some point.
Counterpoint.
McDavid, Conn Smythe, Draisaitl, Conn Smythe. 11-1 Draisaitl plus 350
right.
McDavid.
Yeah.
That's the way you go with it.
If you like Edmonton, do not take them to win the cup. Just take those 2 guys and you'll be good.
Yes.
Yep. And then even if you like Dallas to win, take Rantanen at 4-1. Their future price is plus 290.
Yep.
Just take Rantanen, Conn Smythe.
Yeah.
That would be the way to approach this series. Is you have action on both sides. You get Draisaitl at 11-1, Rantanen at 4-1, McDavid at plus 350, and you
What's Marchand for the con?
Marchand for the Conn Smythe. Oh boy.
Yeah, him and Loster. I saw Dave mention, or I think Dave mentioned Loster.
They won't give it to a name like him.
35-1, Marchand. So
I mean, crazier stuff has happened.
And let's be honest, this is a league trophy too. There's part of it that you're tipping your hat to certain players too.
Yeah, Marchand could get it just with that.
Yep. I mean, I felt like McDavid partially won it last year. I thought it should have been Barkov or Bob. But over McDavid last year?
No, Bob should not have won it. He let up like a ton of goals in too many games.
Yeah, that's true. Then Barkov should have won it.
Perhaps.
But I feel like the league in some capacity goes, we have to make sure McDavid gets one. If they never make it to the finals, it's going to be a disservice to the player.
I don't know. I thought McDavid deserved that.
Yeah.
Personally, but
oh god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, goalies like never win it. So I was contemplating grabbing Freddie for if you wanted to bet a Carolina future of sorts. But I don't
You'd
know.
go to Aho or Svetch
Yeah, but like
or
I can't
Jarvis.
If Carolina wins, who's winning Conn Smythe? Do you really think Aho or Svetch is going to get it?
If Carolina wins, against who?
The Cup. If they win the Cup, period.
Against who?
Against Edmonton.
That changes that totally changes it. If they
you think
Really?
Connor still wins it then?
Or Dry?
Yeah.
But could they do that
Or
back-to-back
Miko?
years where
Honestly,
the loser wins the Conn Smythe? I don't think they would do that.
I would maybe give it to Miko. If
Miko
Dallas
could.
got in, I would maybe give it to Miko.
I mean,
over
especially if he puts
anybody
up
on
points
Carolina.
again like he has.
Yep.
It's crazy how you can't even pick a Carolina one.
Here. I just want to go through the Conn Smythe, the last couple. McDavid, we just talked about. Marcia Schultz had to win it that year, but nobody in their right mind would have thought that going into it.
That was my best bet.
Eichel
I
was
had 7-1.
Eichel was right there.
At the beginning of the playoffs.
No, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and in my mind, I mean, this is a tough argument to make because of how many goals he put up. Eichel, I still think, kind of deserved it that year because they weren't getting out of the conference finals without Eichel's play.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Makar the year before that. Vasilevsky is the last goaltender to win it in 2021. Hedman in 2020. Okay, this is the points I'm getting at. I think Vasilevsky and Hedman are both well deserving of the Conn Smythe those years. But there's like logic in your brain kind of says like shouldn't it have been like Stamkos or Kucherov or whoever the top scorers were on any of those years. In my mind, it's partially that they feel like they have to give it to Hedman at some point because he's that good. You know, like that you have to like reward these people sometimes. Ryan O'Reilly the year before that, Ovi, Crosby, Duncan Keith. Here you go. Justin Williams, 2014.
That was because all the overtime game winners.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all he did. Flyers legend.
So I don't remember the point I was making, but
so who's due is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, a little bit.
But at that point, you would say it's dry
only
cycle,
back to
right?
back.
That's what I'm saying. So why would you even consider the fact that McDavid at 350 just take Draisaitl 11-1?
I would take Draisaitl.
Take Draisaitl 11-1. Miko at 4-1.
Yep.
Now you have two better futures, at least out of the West.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Yeah,
I feel like it's so hard for Draisaitl to pass McDavid though. Like he has to have more points, don't you think?
Yeah. Doesn't he though?
I think so. He's one behind McDavid, if I'm correct. That I looked before. I think McDavid has 17 points. Draisaitl has 16.
I think it's going to piss me off even if McDavid wins it back to back and the Oilers win this year. It's going to be piss me off even more so that he won it last year.
I was thinking it was going to piss me off that I didn't just bet him Conn Smythe at the start of the playoffs.
Well, yeah.
That's
a good point too. But...
just or when they were trying to get too fancy here. Yeah.
What about when they're down 2-0 to the Kings?
McDavid has 3 goals. Draisaitl has 5. McDavid has 17 points. Draisaitl has 16.
We did not talk about the dark horse of Edmonton of
Corey Perry.
Yeah.
Insane, but they just bumped him down to the 4th line.
I don't even think they have him listed here unless
what about Stuart Skinner, guys? What if Stuart Skinner just like
because he didn't get them out round 1.
Yeah.
Stuart Skinner is 100-1. Calvin Pickard is 500-1.
There's just no way.
Ekholm has the same odds to win the Conn Smythe at 500-1 as Pickard does.
Yeah, I mean, even if a guy like Hyman went on like an insane tear, I still think it's going to McDavid or Draisaitl for this team.
Or Mako.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any love for Sam Miskevich at 500-1 either? Like,
nope.
Jesus.
Give me Marchand.
Crazy odds.
Give me Marchand.
Yeah, the Marchand one is I feel like is a good value.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a little bit of a tip of a cap to a guy who will probably be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Leon.
That may never get there again.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's I don't think we're going to do the most points. We'll do series points here. Any love for this market? Jason Robertson, we got to talk about too.
Can you take the under on any of these?
All of them.
10 points. Okay. 10 points for McDavid seems like a lot. He had 16 in 2 series so far, one of which he put up 4 points in one night.
But it's McDavid.
That's
I
like
don't know.
Matthew
That
shots
seems
that
like
we were like, we're not going to take the under, we're not going to take the over, but
Yeah.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
yeah.
I mean, all it takes is a couple of games where he just explodes and you're sweating.
Yeah.
Especially if that power play gets going. I mean,
Dude, when did the Edmonton pick up Mikko Rantanen?
Yeah, I just realized a few of these are off. I just realized, Zach Hyman too. He transferred. He's a late addition too.
Oh,
to the,
maybe they
That
traded.
was what
Maybe
the
that
trade was.
an even swap.
Yeah, it was Mikko for
The second
Hyman.
trade name. I'll send you Zach Hyman for Mikko Rantanen.
Actually, that McDavid most points in the series is not bad at -105.
I would
Yeah,
prefer to do that than 9.5 points.
So yeah, Leon's next at plus 230.
And Mikko at +500 is not a bad price either.
Did Mikko have? Yeah, he had. Never mind.
Mhm.
He slowed down a little bit.
Mikko only had 1 point in the last 3 games. Just something to consider there.
Which does that mean he was eventually going to have to cool off after putting up fucking 69 points in 3 games? So is it ready for the bounce back?
Yeah. Well, I mean, at 6.5, it's a lot of points in the series.
Yeah, but he could do that in 2 games.
I mean, Jason
Especially if we
Robertson
get
too.
Stuart Skinner from the Kings series.
Is
Yeah.
Jason Robertson right though? Is the question.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's. I mean, 1 point.
Harley
for 6
at
games.
3.5.
Harley at 3.5 is
like
interesting
that.
because he's got 11 right
Was
now.
Heiskanen too?
Heiskanen, he was. I just didn't include him because I only had 10 slots. So going back to series player props,
I got it.
series points, Heiskanen. No, he's not on there for points.
I'll check FanDuel real quick. Or not. Oh, there.
That's fair.
Come on.
Fair. Yeah, Mikko could just do 2 hat tricks again, and
Yep.
No, they
that
don't
still wouldn't
have
get him. But yeah,
They don't have him on FanDuel either. They give you Wallman points though. 5 points at +420.
I love those odds,
Mhm.
but I can't take it.
yeah,
Yeah, not if Ekholm's coming back.
no. Head-to-head points for this series. Interesting markets. Draisaitl has some value maybe at plus 140.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
Yes, he does.
that's what I was looking at too. Draisaitl's got some value there.
That Heiskanen Harley one is fun.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like Harley there. He's still top.
I do
power
too.
Yeah. I also kind of like Ryan Nuge over Hintz.
Hintz
Hintz
10
can be
points.
effective without getting a point.
That is all dependent on Mikko again. But there was the couple games where Mikko had points and somehow is off the score sheet.
Rantanen would have, he would have like 4 points and Hintz would have 1.
Doesn't even make sense.
And then Hintz wouldn't have a point for like 2 games after.
Ridiculous.
As long as
Yeah.
Nuge stapled to McDavid on that top line. That's the only thing that concerns me is that
never
top line
changed.
doesn't get going and then they stack dry up there again.
Knobloch is
Curry
so
back up there.
fast to change it, man. It's you
And then
don't
it-
know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Well, then it ruins your Draisaitl McDavid bet because McDavid's tied to Draisaitl then, and vice versa. And then any point McDavid gets Draisaitl maybe on it. Like any point Draisaitl gets McDavid's most likely on it. So yeah, a lot of variables in this one. Head-to-head goals.
Probably Mikko over McDavid.
Yeah,
Just
I'm fine
for
with that.
goals.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Sure.
Kane over
Hintz. Sure.
Wide over Hintz.
Kane over
Kane over
Sagan.
Sagan. Sure.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, I like all those.
Sweep it. Where's the
Yeah.
broom?
Would you say Miko or
Easy.
McDavid over Miko?
No, Miko over McDavid.
Miko over McDavid, Wyatt over Rupe, Kane over Sagan.
I wish they had head-to-head points with McDavid and Miko. I would want to see what that number would be.
I thought they would put that matchup together, and they didn't. Head-to-head points. Yeah,
It was only I searched it elsewhere. It's not anywhere.
Yeah.
Although I guess based on the odds, it was like -105 and plus 400. So they're probably it would be ridiculous.
Yeah. See, I'd rather take Granlund prop over Hintz point props now. I got burned too many times with Hintz.
Yeah, and Granlund's been scoring too. I mean, he's been kind of creating his own points.
He's got to create his own NHL contract for next season somehow.
Yeah, series shots on goal. McDavid at 19.5.
Oh man,
he's hit it the first 2 series though.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
No,
shots don't exist anymore.
Oh man, I am fine with taking McDavid, Bouchard, and Draisaitl. Maybe not Draisaitl, depending on the game. Dallas
Kane over 14.5. McDavid over 19.5. Yeah, and the Stars have been so leaky to shots.
And this is a team where you're focused on just a couple guys for their shots. It's not like Carolina or Florida.
No. I mean, McDavid hit that prop too. I think he was plus 120, plus 225 last round. I have to search the bet, but 2+ shots in every game hit with ease.
Oh yeah,
so I might just run that back.
Who called that? Whose play was that? Is it yours? I love that.
That's mine. Yeah.
Last night I was like looking through all my books. I'm like, all right, let's see what series stuff's cashing. It's like, oh yeah, sweet.
Again, let's see what that is this series. McDavid plus 140, 2+ shots on goal in every game.
Plus 140?
Plus 140 for 2+ in every game.
I could see that.
Just, yep. So, getting to best bets, that's probably going to be my best bet here. McDavid 2+ in every game. Do you guys have? Yeah.
I am totally fine with that.
Yeah. Franco, do you have a best bet in this one?
It's tough, man. I guess I'll do the 6 and 7 game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I do think this one feels a little bit more likely to go 6 or 7. I'm a little bit worried about the other series. And you can get them each plus 200. So I'm taking a unit home if I cash one.
So Betsky, you're on that as well, but with your best bet at McDavid at 2+ in every game in this series. All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. So in the East, I think all of our best bets was just Florida series price, -125. In the West, Franco, you got 6-7 games in this series, and then me and Betsky got McDavid 2+ shots on goal in every game plus 140. I like that. Any other bets you guys are taking now? I know we talked Conn Smythe. We like McDavid 350, Draisaitl at 11-1.
I'll bet on that cat being cute.
Yeah.
Not playoff bet, but I was just poking around. Draft bet. Number 3 overall, Caleb Desnoyers plus 1,200. It just took that.
What book's that on?
FanDuel.
Wait, what was the bet?
Caleb Desnoyers for plus 1,200 for the 3rd pick overall.
What's your reasoning?
Two-way center. He just won Q Player of the Year.
Oh, okay.
Lots of people pointing towards him.
Moving up the board, eh? Because he was a guy that was supposed to be there for the Flyers at 6, so it's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people. I don't think he's getting out of 4, but I don't think Chicago would want Higgins, who's small.
Yeah,
and then the other guy maybe Frondell, but nobody's totally certain he's a center. And then you're talking about Martone.
So, yeah, I mean, Betsky, if you look at the playoff specials on FanDuel too, both series to have 6+ games is plus 115. So I don't know if that's better odds than parlaying the over 5.5 in both games, but that's another angle under playoff specials on FanDuel.
Okay.
Any other bets? We will have our picks for game 1 out tomorrow. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Those will be posted on the Expected Bets for Twitter. We'll have a little video out there for that. Thank you to DraftKings. Promo code THPN for $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Also, check us out on Bubble too. So Bubble podcast will be uploaded. You can just search individual clips where we break down Conn Smythe, head-to-head goals, every single category we talked about. You want to search through. Our best bets will be in its own category as well. So be sure to check us out on Bubble as well. Anything else before we wrap up? We'll be back Wednesday.
Go Stars and go Panthers for my futures. That'd be really cool. Yeah.
Betsy, any closing comments?
Caleb Desnoyers for third overall pick plus 1,200. I'm over the playoffs. I'm just going to focus on the draft now.
Moving on to the draft.
Yeah.
The handshake emoji with the Leafs fans, but they don't even get that. They don't even get that.
Yeah.
Darn.
Good.
All right.
It's
Well,
gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so crazy.
We appreciate everyone for tuning in to our conference finals best bets. Once again, before we wrap up, in the East, we all got Florida minus 125 for our series best bets. In the West, Franco is taking Dallas Edmonton to go 6 and 7 games. Both are, I think, 2-1, 2 plus 210. So be sure to split that both ways. And then Betsy and I have McDavid 2+ shots on goal in every game at plus 140, only on DraftKings. All right, once more, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on Bubble, on Tails, and on Twitter and YouTube. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, Expected Bets 4, please do so. And we will talk to you guys Wednesday. Have a good one. See ya.